Networking IRL, networking in real life. Is that something that you do? Is it something you believe in? Is it worth it? Is it not? I'm going to share my experience recently with you in today's episode.
Hello, I'm Olivia D'Souza. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I'm a content and podcast expert. I support visionary entrepreneurs and leaders passionate about living with purpose. Join me as we explore podcasting, life, business, and authenticity. Subscribe for meaningful conversations with a business buddy who gets what it's like. Welcome to Magnetic Pod.
I'm stepping in the next level me. So recently I've got a new client who invited me to, or she found out about me through this networking place where she knew someone who knew me, who recommended me. And so I decided to go along and attend their first event of the year, which I did last week. And it was really lovely. And the interesting thing, a lot of interesting things, but there were a couple of speakers there. They're both really interesting and inspiring. And I had forgotten how much I enjoy in-person events. Now I know maybe it's not for everyone. I know some people who just are introverted and don't really want to do that thing. But I had forgotten that I like it, and maybe it's also because I really like the people there. And I think that there really is value in the real life connections. I'd kind of gotten out of the habit, I guess, post 2020 and all these lockdowns that we've been through, that we got to think that we could do everything online. And I actually think it will be great to put into practice something that I have spoken about before on this podcast. Can't remember which episode, so I'll just quickly touch on it again. But the reason I started in podcasting is because of Networking IRL. Not that we called it that back at that time, but it was, I joined a networking community for the business I was working for at the time as the way, because the local businesses were our target clients and it was a great way to meet them. But podcasting, that's when I started the podcast, because it gave me a way and an excuse to stay in touch with them and build those relationships by inviting people. And I'm a big, big believer, as I've said before, in reciprocity. So if you want to build relationships, you give them something of value, and something you can give of value is your audience. You can have a platform and a podcast at any level, but you're giving them a platform to share your audience and to share their value, where they get to share their knowledge, and then they get footage out of that and you get content and you get to build a relationship. And I did that back when I did my first ever podcast. That's how it started. And from that, I kind of became visible by doing that, and I got invited to do speaking gigs and run workshops, and I just built relationships that way. And I'd kept, since then, because I moved on from that job, but I'd kept the idea of loving the networking side of podcasting, but I'd kind of let fall away the IRL bit, the in real life bit. And going last week and really enjoying it was my reminder that, hey, why don't I do that again? So I think there is value in knowing people in real life, and it builds relationships. One person I saw there was someone who came up to me and she said, Olivia, and I knew her face, but sometimes don't take it personally if you ever see me in person and we know each other, but we see each other in a different context. If I see you in a different place to where I'm used to seeing you, my brain might be going going through all the files, trying to locate where that face comes from. It's not personal. That happens to me. Maybe it could be associated with the ADHD thing. So I knew her. I knew it, and I was like thinking it was a local community. And I guess it was Mum Life, because I used to be an admin in Mum Life Community Facebook group, which started as a local Facebook group and then expanded to be Australia-wide. So, but I knew we'd have local events, and I got to know a lot of the local mums, and so that's how I'd known her, met her before, and we're Facebook friends, but we hadn't interacted for a while, so she hadn't come up on my feeds, and so when she came up to me, I took a moment. I'm sorry. I don't know if you'd want me to mention your name, so I won't, but she came up to me, so it was a combination of having known me virtually online first, then meeting at an event, at the old events that we used to run, and then seeing her again in real life. And also the person who invited me, she's my client. The reason she's my client is because someone that she knows in real life at this event knows me in real life. We used to work together. So I certainly think that knowing people in real life, and it gives your connections more strength, and you know, you can be animated, you can see them, you can give them a hug if that's appropriate, if that feels, you know, for the level of relationship okay. Or you can't replace. I love online, and I love being in the online space, and I love that I can just turn on a camera and reach a lot of people. But right now I'm having a one-sided conversation, aren't I? You might be yelling back at me or whatever, but it's one-sided. But I just love that connection, that banter and sharing of ideas that comes from real life. So that was a reminder to me that real life connections in person have value. That might be something for you to think about, but I'm going to share my journey, and I've also got in the back of my mind to invite some of the people, because I did hear some interesting talks there, and also just people that are doing interesting things that I think that you, my dear listener, would be interested to hear and learn from. And I would love to share their knowledge with you. And I'm able to do that and find more interesting content, and of course build those relationships and all of that. By doing that, I also found out that there's a co-working space near me, so that's another way that I can actually see people in real life and be in my local community and not lose any time if I do those co-working things. So yeah. Do you do anything that's in real life these days? I mean, it's funny that we have an acronym for it, because we became so online focused, especially since the COVID lockdowns, that real life almost seems like a novelty. And I think we need real life. And sometimes I think getting a bit out of your comfort zone, if you're a little bit nervous about it, maybe is worth it. I don't want to push anyone to, you know, do what's not for them if you definitely feel like that's not your thing. But if it's just fear, sometimes fear is worth overcoming or using as a motivating force to, be proud that you overcame it, if that's your thing. I don't thrust anything on anybody, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. So I'd love to know what you think about in real life events. Do you go to any? Do you find them useful? Do you love them? Do you hate them? And also business cards. What do you do with business cards, by the way? Apparently now the thing is just sharing your LinkedIn profile, which I like, because really, who keeps business cards? So what do you do with that? Love to know. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you're listening on YouTube. Otherwise, shoot me a message, and I would love to hear from you, and let me know what you'd love me to speak on next time. And if you like this episode, share, screenshot, share, and rate and review and all those nice things. And if you do that, wonderful things will happen to you, because, you know, karma. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye. I'm stepping in the next level me. I'm here to be everything I can be. Like a snake, I'm shedding my skin to be my wild next level me. I'm stepping in the next level me. I'm here to be everything I can be. Give you whiplash when you turn around and see me go again. Next level me. It's time to be. Hello, it's Livy here. Have you ever wondered about what the key elements are that make a podcast truly stand out? Or maybe you're thinking about starting your own special podcast and feel a bit overwhelmed and don't know where to start. Well, I have something for you. Introducing the ultimate podcast checklist. Da, 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 da. It's a step-by-step guide that covers everything from the initial brainstorming to advanced growth strategies. It's the perfect companion for both new and seasoned podcasters. And the best part, it's absolutely free. Da, 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 da. To grab your copy, simply head to the show notes of this episode and you will find a direct link there, and then away you go. Remember, every podcast started with that initial spark and the right resource. So let the ultimate podcasting checklist be yours.